Alright, and here on our news it says CLARITY Act update for XRP holders. What Trump must do before July 23. Now, what if I told you that the fate of the entire crypto market, including the legal future of XRP, currently hinges on a single letter sent to President Donald Trump with a ticking clock set for July 23? While most people are watching daily price fluctuations, the real power play is happening in Washington. A massive political showdown has broken out between Capitol Hill and the White House, and crypto analyst Diana, known as Invest with D on X right here, brought this critical document to light. Senator Elizabeth Warren sent a formal letter demanding that President Trump release his updated crypto financial disclosure covering his earnings through July 15, 2026. The deadline she set is July 23, the exact window when the Senate is scheduled to debate the game-changing CLARITY Act. If you hold XRP or any digital asset, this is not something you can ignore. So in this video, we are dissecting the numbers, the political chess match, and what this high-stakes standoff means for the entire market. Alright, so what is the July 23 deadline everyone is talking about? To understand why July 23 has suddenly become the most important date on the crypto calendar, we have to look at what analyst Diana highlighted here on X. Senator Elizabeth Warren sent an official letter to President Donald Trump on July 16, 2026, urging him to voluntarily publish an updated financial report detailing his crypto earnings up to July 15, 2026. Why July 23? It's because that is the precise time frame when the Senate is preparing to floor debate the CLARITY Act. The goal of Warren's demand is to force Congress to examine full financial transparency before taking a vote that could fundamentally alter the regulatory landscape for digital assets. In my personal opinion about this deadline is that it serves as a double-edged sword. On one hand, transparency and governance is essential when sweeping legislation is being crafted. On the other hand, setting aggressive multi-day ultimatum deadlines often turns technical policy discussions into political theater. Instead of focusing purely on the economic benefits of clear rules for assets like XRP, the conversation risks getting bogged down in partisan fighting. So my view is that market participants should see July 23 not as a magic switch, but as a crucial temperature check for whether lawmakers are serious about passing the bill or just scoring political points. Now, why are Trump's crypto holdings causing a firestorm in Congress? The recent Senator Warren's letter has created such a massive ripple through Capitol Hill comes down to the staggering figures released in previous disclosures. The Office of the Government Ethics published Trump's 2025 financial report on June 30, 2024. I'm sorry, it's 2026. June 30, 2026. That report revealed that Trump generated roughly $1.4 billion from cryptocurrency ventures in 2025 alone. So to put that into perspective, that $1.4 billion figure is more than double his total recorded income from 2024, meaning digital assets now make up the overwhelming majority of his earnings. The report also detailed specific corporate structures. Trump family members maintain a 30% ownership stake in DT Marks DeFi LLC, an entity that holds Coinbase accounts valued over $100 million and 38.25% ownership stake in WLF Holdco LLC. In 2025 by itself, DT Marks DeFi LLC produced $590 million in income. Furthermore, through an LLC intermediary, the family holds an equity stake in the stablecoin Holdco LLC. Because official ethics guidelines state that Trump is not legally mandated to submit his 2026 annual report until May 15, 2027, critics argue there is a massive information gap while Congress votes on rules that could directly impact those exact ventures. Now, here's my opinion. This highlights the friction between old world regulatory frameworks and modern digital finance. When high-ranking officials hold deep financial ties to emerging technology, every policy move gets scrutinized under a microscope. The fact that crypto generated over $1.4 billion for a sitting president proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that digital assets are no longer a side experiment. They are at the absolute center of global financial power. However, until clear ethics guardrails are established, this financial overlap will continue to give opponents ammunition to delay broad market legislation. Now, is the 60-vote Senate math actually possible before August? Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The brutal political arithmetic required to turn CLARITY Act into law. Senate Democrats have firmly stated they will not support the bill without strict ethics provisions that prohibit the president, members of Congress, and their immediate families from profiting off crypto assets while holding public office. Back in May, the Senate Banking Committee held a vote on a Democratic ethics amendment and rejected it 13-11. Shortly after, the broader CLARITY Act advanced out of committee on a vote of 15-9 vote, completely lacking those ethics restrictions. Now, the bill faces the full Senate floor, where it requires a majority of 60 votes to overcome procedural hurdles. Now, here's the problem. Republicans hold 53 seats in the Senate, and at least 2 Republican senators are widely expected to vote against the bill. This means even in a best case scenario with 51 solid Republican votes, supporters still need at least 9 Democratic votes to cross the 60-vote finish line. With Senate Democrats uniting around Warren's ethics demands, getting those 9 extra votes before the Senate goes on its summer recess on August 7 is a monumental task. My personal opinion on this Senate math is that we are witnessing a classic political game of chicken on a runway train track. Both sides know the market desperately needs CLARITY Act, legal clarity. Supporters want the bill passed to unlock institutional capital, while opponents are using their leverage to force ethics concessions. So my take is that unless both parties agree to a compromise on the ethics language within the next few days, the bill risks getting stalled in a procedural quicksand. If lawmakers fail to reach an agreement before the August 7 deadline, the timeline gets pushed deep into late 2026, keeping institutional capital waiting on the sidelines. Now, what happens to XRP if CLARITY Act gets delayed? So, what does all this political noise mean for XRP holders who just want clear rules of the road? The CLARITY Act was designed to establish a definitive legal framework, categorizing digital assets clearly and removing years of regulatory ambiguity. For XRP, a clear federal law is the key that unlocks full-scale global banking liquidity, real-world asset tokenization, and massive institutional adoption. However, as long as the bill remains trapped in congressional gridlock, the market is forced to operate under existing uncertainties. The window before the August 7 recess is extremely narrow. If the July 23 debate passes without a clear pathway toward 60 votes, the market will have to digest another delay while waiting for Congress to return in the autumn. Now, my opinion on XRP's position during this delay is that its structural utility always outlasts short-term political drama. While Washington politicians argue over paperwork and ethics amendments, the actual underlying infrastructure of the XRP ledger continues to process cross-border transactions every single day. Political delays are frustrating for retail investors who want immediate progress, but they do not alter the fundamental value proposition of rapid settlement technology. So in my view, smart market participants should focus on long-term institutional integration rather than stressing over every headline coming out of Capitol Hill. And finally, here is our overall conclusion. The situation unfolding in Washington around CLARITY Act represents a historic crossroads for digital assets. Senator Elizabeth Warren's July 23 deadline for President Donald Trump's $1.4 billion crypto disclosure has placed ethics and transparency at the very center of the legislative debate. With 60 votes needed on the Senate floor and a 53-seat Republican majority that requires bipartisan support, the path to passing clear crypto legislation before the August 7 recess is tight. While political gridlock can cause short-term delays and noise in the market, the broader shift toward comprehensive digital asset regulation is inevitable. The market wants clarity, financial institutions want clear rules, and the technology continues to advance regardless of political timelines. So, we need to stay focused on the broader picture, track the floor votes closely, and maintain a long-term perspective. And this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one, or you might just as well check this next recommended video right here.